Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to Jenny Halpern Prince, who is here today and to talk to us about her career.
Very early, I decided not to go to university and wanted to set something up on my own. So hence Halpern was born. We were one of the first agencies that really did influencer. Yeah. And we did it in the way in which when it was celebrity. And that was the start of celebrity endorsement, which obviously then morphed into the influential side of the social media.
Hi and welcome to Driven Women, brought to you by Cash and Rocket. I'm Julie Brangstrup, and this is a space where horsepower meet ambition, where style, energy, and a little bit of rebellion fuel every conversation.
So for any young person who wants to go into PR now, what would the advice be?
Have a character, have a personality, be more confident if you can. You know, just find your voice.
So when did you co-found the Lady Garden?
Lady Garden was set up in 2014. I really believe my legacy for this charity is to be able to ensure that we can get enough of the schools and universities talking about gynaecological cancers. 21 women that die every day.
21 women die every day.
Every day. If we could change that and have more diagnoses and less deaths, we would have early diagnoses to stop the cancer in its track.
Can I introduce you to Jenny Halpern Prince, who is here today and to talk to us about her career, about her fantastic fundraising element of the Lady Garden that she co-founded. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Julie.
So Jenny, tell me about how your whole career started with your, starting your PR company before the influencers, before this whole crazy social media.
Well, you have to go way, way back.
Okay.
Way back. I probably don't even want to admit, but it is 1993, which is when I started Halpern. And that was because I had a job at a brand called Joseph, and I'd been there for 3 years. And I started very early. I decided not to go to university. I got a place to study history at LSE, turned it down. Father was not happy with me and basically told me, don't expect anything from me. I went, I'm not asking. And started working at Joseph, literally on I think it was £9,000. And then I was in the press office there, and then I kind of learnt the skills, what to do to be able to be in comms, and realised after a few years that I could do that really on my own and wanted to set something up on my own. So hence Halpern was born, and I knew nothing, I have to say. You learn on the job.
Sometimes kind of good.
It's sometimes kind of good, exactly. You learn by your mistakes and failures, and there's a lot of tears, but you keep going on and you keep kind of being a fighter, not giving up, and there were many knocks along the way. But, I think that's really stood me in great stead for later problems and later issues that I was to face throughout personal and in work as well. But yeah, so that was quite a few years ago I set up Halpern.
And then in regards to setting that up, and obviously pre the whole social media, how did the social media, was that part of it? Because you sold a big piece of the company a few years ago, or last year?
So I sold the business in 2012, 2013, and that is to the And Partnership, which is part of WPP. So in essence, the whole of my agency is now owned by WPP.
Okay.
I am now a consultant to the business, which is fantastic. I love still working within comms, because it does give you that sort of constant sense of what's next, what's new, and I never want to fall behind in that way. And that really has also put me in a very good position to be able to learn everything that one needs to know about social media, also for what I do with Lady Garden as the CEO for that as well. So Halpern, I wanted to be able to sell it because I wanted to scale the business, and it's incredible what we've been able to do to be able to now have a multidiscipline agency that works across a lot of content, mainly content and influencers now. And that has completely changed. But way back, we were one of the first agencies that really did influencer. And we did it in the way in which when it was celebrity, when you had a celebrity and you took them to whether it was Necker Island, or you took them to a holiday resort, or you asked them to wear some clothing like Victoria Beckham or David Beckham to go on a world tour, for his world football tour. And he literally went decked out in everything Burberry and with suitcases. Victoria was at the height of her fame with the Spice Girls as well. And we had literally people coming in and out of the office all the time to be dressed or to go on experiences that we were representing.
Okay.
And that was the start of celebrity endorsement, which obviously then morphed into the influential side of the social media platforms, where influencers gain so many followers, and then clearly, you put paid or you give them something to be able to make them do something on their behalf. Mainly it's paid nowadays. It really is. There's very, very few things that you can actually get an influencer to do without payment, which is probably right.
Yeah. But also, I mean, it has become quite crazy. You're going to any fashion shows now, they're all the influencers sitting on the front line. It's not the magazines anymore.
No, I know, and I think that has
That's
a
a bit
real
sad, yeah.
that is difficult because the younger age group are not even watching. They're not even looking at magazines. They're looking at their Snapchat, their TikTok, everything. They don't consume one publication anymore, and I think very few people do.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to make highlights from publications to be able to draw them back into that publication.
Yeah.
So that's our real mission when we're doing anything with those titles, to be able to make sure that we can give them something which is interesting enough.
Yeah. And so for any young girl or person who wants to go into PR now, what would the advice be that you would give them? You've learned so much.
Yeah.
You've been through before, doing, after,
I think that, we have a lot of people still who come on work experiences, and that is also one of the reasons why I set up my other platform, charity platform, Access Aspiration, which we'll go into. But the work experiences are fascinating for young people to be able to kind of enter into any world at all. So your question being, what would I suggest to young people? Make sure you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Make sure you've tested off another few industries and say, I really like that. I get that.
Yeah.
Are you a good communicator? Do you like working in a team? Do you like to be able to write? But then again, there are so many other skills that you've got to be able to do. And I think one of the major things still in comms, and will always be, is how to hustle.
Yeah.
It's how to be able to get somebody to do something that they weren't planning on doing beforehand.
Yeah.
And that is the difference that AI won't be able to do for you.
Yeah.
So yet. I would
So
say
be
yet.
unique and stand out.
Yeah.
And
have a character, have a
Yeah.
personality, be more confident if you can.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I always recommend to people that come into the business first of all. It's just like, just find your voice.
And so going back to AI, are you embracing it?
We really are.
You are. Okay.
I use the various different AA platforms all the time.
Yeah.
And I would say that within Lady Garden, what we're doing, we're actually creating a chatbot at the moment that will discuss women's health issues with regard to gynaecological cancers. And so we are informing that AI chatbot through all the NHS information that lives on their website, and everything that our medical director and our doctors and surgeons have to be able to input into that. So it will not be telling people and diagnosing, but it will be enabling to be a little bit more kind of calm and reassured as to what they, signs and symptoms. We'll be asking about signs and symptoms. What we're trying to do is to be able to ensure that if you have any form of unusual symptom, that you can put it into our chat bot that will then basically kind of come out with potential things that might be. And I think
of the symptoms,
and the difference is that we are seeing how people are being replaced in that way. It's learned experiences. It's all about informing that chatbot to be able to make sure that they don't do anything outside of what we're telling it to do, but at the same time, all throughout the night, 24/7, whenever you've got those terrible fears, you're going to be able to have some information inputted and the answer come out. And I think for us, we know how important that is, to be able to have somebody always on.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back. So when did you co-founded the Lady Garden?
Lady Garden was set up in 2014,
Okay.
so 11 years ago, in response to a few of my girlfriends. Unfortunately, their mothers died of ovarian cancer.
Right.
And they said, Jen, please get involved with us, because we'd like to be able to create something that creates a legacy for their mothers. And very early on, it was very much to be able to support one doctor at the Marsden with ovarian cancer trials that she was trying to be able to put in specific responses to be able to make sure that women would live longer with the ovarian cancer that they'd already got. Now, over the years, what we've then done is I became CEO, and I have realized that we need to do so much more, not just research. We need to educate the country. We need to educate girls and boys about the HPV vaccine, which there is a lot of there's a lot of ignorance around. Why do you have it in the first place? Why would your parents sign you up for this vaccine? And it is incredible. If you take the vaccine and you take a smear test, you will be 99.8% preventable from cervical cancer. 99.8, and people don't know enough about that.
Yeah.
So I really believe my legacy for this charity is to be able to ensure that we can get enough of the schools and universities having a presence with regards to having somebody in there and talking about Lady Garden and talking about gynaecological cancers, and making sure that the 21 women that die every day from a gynaecological cancer.
21 women die every day.
Every day.
Wow.
That they will
And are the
be
numbers
reduced.
growing? What?
The numbers are not going down. And that's the thing. So they really aren't. There's 60 women that have been diagnosed every day. And if we could change that and have more diagnoses and less deaths, we would have early diagnoses, which then you would get you would be able to stop the cancer in its track.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, many women are diagnosed at stage 3 and 4, and it's too late. And
what are the age group of?
The age group is anything from 20s upwards. It really is. And I think there's a real myth around the fact that you think that it's all for older women. It is not. We unfortunately have many, many young people in their 20s who get misdiagnosed, and that's another area that we're trying to be able to really push, to be able to make sure that GPs actually really look at what this girl could have.
Purely through having a smear test.
It's purely through having
They don't need a scan, they just need a smear test.
But if they have a smear test and there is abnormal cells on there, then they will move to having a scan.
Okay.
Now, the problem is that you go into your GP and say, I have some tummy pains, I have some bloating, I have some spotting between periods. It's IBS. And they'll give it some other thing, and you won't get to the scan, or you won't get to the smear test. And that's where the problem starts. Keep on pushing, and we keep telling everybody, recognize that these signs, what are these signs? Just know what they are. And then at least you're going to be armed with information and be able to go out there. Because, we're talking about the vaccine is given at 12 or 13. So at 12 or 13, you're not thinking about it. But in your early 20s, you're looking at very closely at 25.
But it wouldn't be too late at that point to have the vaccine.
No, it's not. You can, as a girl, you can still have it up to 25.
Okay.
So there's the HPV vaccine for girls can be had up to 25, and for boys actually it's longer. You can have it much later on. And what most boys and men don't know is that the vaccine protects them against neck and throat cancer. We have a mate who is in his 50s who has neck cancer, and it's just not known enough. So our job is to be able to do what breast cancer did many, many years ago in the 70s and 80s, and really push that forward and ensure that we get people to protect themselves.
And so your new project, which is all about educational and involving the universities and really expanding towards the youth to educate them. That
is so exciting. I mean, Julie, honestly, I feel so motivated by the fact that we're going to get, and we are getting, young people who are spreading the word on our behalf. We have 25 ambassadors already in universities that are doing panel talks. They're writing pieces for the student newspapers. They are getting their peers to be able to do community-related projects, whether it's just like some form of, drawing on tote bags, or it's kind of pulling their peers together to be able to do some run or bike ride, but to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And people don't talk about it enough. Now, we believe that we can get an ambassador in all universities around the country.
Yeah.
That is our aim. Why not?
Yeah.
If you've got to aim high, and at the same time in schools, we believe that we need to be able to be inserted into schools across the country, having a presence, very much to be able to be in the sixth forms and talk to those girls about what are the gynaecological cancers and why does it affect them. And if they haven't had it at 12 or 13, the HPV vaccine, they should be taking it up now, and why.
And they can go to their local doctor and get it.
Absolutely.
Easily.
They really can.
Okay.
And I think it's very much informing parents as well. So this job is really widened beyond the younger people, and also to have people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, beyond, not feeling skeptical as to why would I let my daughter or son have this vaccine.
Yeah.
And especially in a sort of anti-vaccine culture post-COVID, we have to be able to work even harder.
Yeah. But I kind of feel that also that the education about giving it to your son is not really out there.
No. It
At all.
really isn't, Julie. It really isn't out there. And that's our job, I really do believe, to work with the government as well, to be able to ensure that when a parent is sent that form, to be able to be asked whether they will allow their son or daughter to be able to have the vaccine, give them the information at the time.
Yeah.
So that's not happening. It's just like a form that says yes or no.
Yeah.
And I think there is so much more work that can be done very easily. There's nothing that needs to be passed in government. It's just a job that needs to happen, that can literally kind of have the button be pressed and everybody kind of have much more information on this topic. And when you have your vaccine at 12 or 13, you can literally take a piece of, like a sort of infographic piece of paper away with you, or something that gets uploaded to your phone and say, just by the way, this is what you got, and this is what it does.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be too lengthy, because not many people like to read too many sort of lengthy.
Yeah, you're going to lose the attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to lose the attention. So we've got to make it fun.
Yeah,
Lady Garden has got an irreverent, humorous, fun tone about how we operate, and we believe that's the way in which we've actually garnered a lot more attention, because people know that it's not so serious, the tone of voice that turns people off because they're fearful.
Yeah.
And what we want to be able to do is kind of lead them in gently, get them to be on our side, and get them to understand more about how that's related to them.
Yeah. But do you think also that people are more worried about taking these vaccines because of after COVID?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
It had a big effect on that part.
There's 413,000 kids that are not taking up the vaccine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of kids where it's actually, so many organizations would have worked very hard to get that vaccine made available across the country, and that's the number of people that are not taking it.
And probably those kids or their families don't know that it's
99.8% preventable. Yeah. And that's obviously one of 5 cancers.
Yeah.
So there's that is obviously cervical, but you've also got vaginal, vulval, ovarian, and womb.
But that vaccine will go in and support.
And it also supports vaginal and vulvar cancer. That vaccine does. Ovarian and womb are more difficult. Ovarian, unfortunately, is very much a silent killer.
Yeah.
You really have to recognize the symptoms.
And what are the symptoms?
I mean, literally, if you have some spotting, that would be a symptom.
Okay.
If you have pain during intercourse,
right.
If you have more urinating, sort of more, you feel like maybe you're just urinating much more than you have been, you would have a little bit of discomfort.
Right.
You may have bloating. There's all sorts. If you go to the Lady Garden website, we have it all written out there. It's very easy to understand, and I think, again, in a way in which it's not going to be terribly scary, but you need to literally respond and think, I do have something like that.
Yeah.
It's been going on a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me go and get it sussed out. And let me not get myself dismissed by saying it might not be anything. Because let's feel completely happy and comfortable with the fact that you're going to walk out of the doctor's office knowing it's nothing that you thought bad that has happened to you. And if it is, then it can be dealt with.
And they can go and read about the vaccine on your website as well.
They can read.
And what are the symptoms for a boy? I mean, for a man?
Oh, I mean, that doesn't come up till much later. Much later.
But they should still have it at that age group.
They need to have it at that age group.
Yeah.
Then they're going to be, fully protected.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. We're going to hit it to the website. So the other project you guys are doing is the Chelsea Flower Show, which is super exciting.
I know. It's so exciting, Julie. It is something that clearly it's quite obvious that maybe we should do because of our name, Lady Garden. We're having a garden at Chelsea Flower Show. It's the Royal Horticultural Society's massive event that they do in May, and it brings tourists in from across the world. It is an exceptional event, and it is attended by many, many people from the royal family through to celebrities, through to just the wonderful garden supporters. And we have raised a lot of money to be able to do this. And the reason why we're doing it is because we want to be able to create a garden called Silent No More, very much exactly as we've been talking about, to create a narrative around women's gynae health. We will be the first garden who will be representing women's gynae health that has ever been at Chelsea. And we are on the main avenue, and we have a garden designer who is called Darren Hawkes. He's a double gold winner, and he has a wife and 2 daughters, and feels very passionate about why men also need to be in the conversation and protecting all the women in their life as well. And we really, really believe that through the Chelsea Flower Show, we'll be able to spread this information so much further, and for women and men to be asking questions as opposed to it being a subject that has stigma around it. We don't want to have any stigma. We're going to have fun with this. We really are, and we want everybody to come and support us, and watch us on the television, listen to us on the radio, and get involved and become part of our Chelsea Flower Show supporter. We're also going to be able to launch our Lady Garden Tea Garden event, which we have been in the planning process for the last few years, and it will be something that will happen if you've got a patio garden, if you've got a big garden, you've got a terrace, you've got anything at all. We want to encourage people to be able to have that sense of community, and to be able to build once a year, to be able to have a tea party and raise money on our behalf, and basically on their own behalf, to be able to ensure that more people get informed about the gynaecological cancer arena.
Well, and then also for anyone that are donating, for all the women they're donating for the future of the research, etc., of helping them and their children. Yeah, absolutely. And so, in regards to donations, how does it work on your website? Can anyone go in and donate?
Yeah.
You do also running.
We do a challenge, which is in May or June. It's coming up on June the 7th, actually. And that is for about 600 or 700 people. And that is super fun. And it is for families. Most things that we do are for families. We have our carol concert coming up, but it is a real family event. And for the challenge, we literally see babies being pushed in pushchairs. We see young kids doing their first charitable related activity from the age of 6, I'd say, running 5 or 10K. It's an amazing atmosphere, and it's something that we've done for the whole time that we've been going for the 11 years. So we usually have our wonderful supporter, Davina McCall, who is our host. We hope to be able to have her again next year, and or coming up. And we get people to sponsor themselves and raise money on our behalf.
Okay.
So that's how it works. Lots of people make teams, whether it's a school, whether it's a brand, whether it's a family, and
so everyone can get involved, basically. There are no excuse at all.
Not at all. And if you don't want to walk, if you don't want to run, you can walk. You can literally take a cup of tea or coffee around with you. Yeah. There is no competitive element if you don't want it.
Yeah.
And I think, that's really the Lady Garden's philosophy, which is it is for everyone.
Yeah.
We aren't exclusive. We are very inclusive.
Yeah. And so you have 2 daughters.
I do.
Are they involved in any of the projects?
I have 2 daughters and a son.
And a son, yeah.
And they're all involved. I mean, they hear me talking a lot about vaginas and vulvas, and where they are hesitant, but at the same time, it's a brilliant way to be able to educate them and get them to be able to bring their friends on side. They have their friends helping at all the events that we do, and they really, they come together again as a community to be able to work alongside me. I mean, I've been into their schools. I've taught many times within all of those schools to be able to highlight what the HPV vaccine is all about, highlight the gynecological cancers, and also talk about any events that we've got coming up. I love doing it. I love young people. I love young people to get involved with what we do. It is imperative. There's no doubt about it.
Well, and they can spread the awareness and get fully involved. Absolutely. So let's talk about basically motherhood and how do you maneuver everything, and also your journey of having your beautiful 3 children.
Sure. This really goes back to the fact that we all hit challenges.
Yeah.
And people can look in at your life and think, oh, it's all going so swimmingly well. And I think I've really been a person that is not shy of hiding. I've been a person who's not been shy of sharing what we've actually been through. And when I say that, you know, we have an incredible result. We have 3 children, but I didn't know if we were going to get 3 children.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't know if I was ever going to be a mother.
And when did you find out about this?
So we started trying very much, you know, just after we got married for children. I was older, you know, I am older than Ryan and my husband, who we've been together for 23 years. And I didn't think that I wasn't going to be able to have children straight away.
Right.
So just, you know, you go for this. And I think this is something that so many women can't get their heads around, that you try and you're like, boom, we're having a kid. You know, it happens to so many people so easily. But it didn't happen. Yeah. And it didn't happen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months in a row. And then, okay, you know, then you go to the doctors and try and understand why. And then you take the tentative step of doing an IUI and you think, my God, I'm having, you know, help here. This is a massive step, and that doesn't work. And then you go to IVF, and then you're having to inject yourself with hormones. And that doesn't work. And
oh wow! So you went through all of
and
that.
so we had many IVF rounds, probably 12,
at that point, your body as well.
Yeah, your body is really, you know. We also had, you know, there's a hyperstimulation that one can get. You get very bloated, and it is not good for you. But at the same time, you know, you're just so have your mind set on becoming a mum.
And you become obsessed.
You become, and everybody around you, and I'm sure this is something that if you asked other women in this position, they'd say the same thing, is everybody's pregnant. Everybody's pushing a pushchair. When you can't do it, everybody else has it.
Yeah.
And it's no matter what it's like, even if you wanted to get married, suddenly seeing everybody as couples, it is, unfortunately, you know, it just highlights it in front of you. So what did we do? We went to various different clinics in the UK, and then we even went to Italy, and we did so many different things. I mean, if you had a few hours for me to explain everything,
right.
Julie, you know, a lot of laparoscopies, which are, you know, in-depth looks inside as to what's going on. Nothing was going wrong. Nothing. It was unexplained infertility. And at no point...
And they could not point on it.
At no point could anybody say what was wrong. And I have, you know, I found it very hard to deal with that at the time because I'm also a girl that likes to achieve things. I've never been able to deal with not being able to do something and fail. I found that very hard to be able to get over. And in everything of my career, you know, I've worked hard, and it's not like I've had success given to me. I have literally sort of like, you know, faced adversity and moved over it. But when it comes to trying to be able to create a child, it's a lot harder if your body is not able to do something like that. So we did move to America in terms of moving to a clinic out there, and we tried again with myself, and it didn't work. So we got a surrogate involved, and that's a whole process. You know, you have to interview somebody.
How does that work? Explain to me.
So you go through an agency in the States, and you look at various different profiles of people, and you want
Do you meet them in person?
Yes,
beforehand?
you do.
Right.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, you really have to, because they're doing something so unbelievable in advance for you, you know, for you, to be able to create, like, you know, be an oven for you in effect. And so yes, we did. We got together with them. And then she has to go through a whole psych test for like 4 hours with the clinic to be able to determine whether she has of sound mental capacity to be able to actually take on a baby, have the baby, and give it away to somebody else. Now, it's not DNA related to them at all, but still, that's a very long process to be able to do that with somebody for 9 months.
Yeah.
And then, what do you have? Well, what they think they've done is an incredibly good deed. And so I'm still in touch with the surrogate that had Sambel and Charlie, our wonderful twin girls who are 16 and a half. And she came over to London recently and met them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was amazing. I mean, like, really crazy. So they know the story.
Yeah.
My girls are very, very aware of what has happened. Marcus, who is now 9, nearly 10, he also knows the story. And
But it was not the same.
wasn't the same surrogate
come?
because unfortunately we asked her to do it again and to create more babies for us 1 year after Sambel and Charlie were born. It didn't work.
Oh, really?
Didn't work twice. And they
Is
were all
that quite common? No.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
like, you know, it's and you think, well, I'm relaxed. Everybody's not even in me, and everybody says relax. So it's just the most annoying conversation to have with another person, and it still didn't work in her. And she was the one that was so, you know, clearly could create a child very easily. She had 2 children of her own, and she adopted a little girl, and she really wanted to give back. And her husband was in the military forces, interestingly, and so they were sort of, you know, jumping about. Moving to different places. So for a woman that wants to be able to sort of feel like she's doing something really worthwhile, it's an incredible thing to do.
Yeah.
So we started looking for somebody else when she said that she wasn't able to do it. Well, sorry, no. So what happened was she tried with us to be able to do it twice afterwards. Then we sort of stopped, and we stopped for a couple of years. And then we went back to her and said, could you do it again? And she said, actually, I've just done it for somebody else. She was then at capacity of having 4 cesareans, so couldn't do anymore.
Right.
And so therefore we then...
Well, they say that. I had 6 cesareans.
Oh my God, well, you're amazing. Nobody is like you.
No, but they always say, no, you can't have more than 3, or I'm like, no, you can.
Well, then look,
I
you
met
know,
more and more women actually having more and more cesareans.
that's so good.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, you
they've become so, you know, much better at it, I guess. And more aware of, you know, the symptoms and to deal with all
to deal with the scarring and how they, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So what happened after that was that we had, we did look for somebody else, and we actually got 9 weeks pregnant with somebody else, and then they lost the baby.
Aww.
I mean, it is not a straightforward road, and I want to tell everybody that if they think that, you know, that surrogacy is the solution, sometimes it also isn't.
Yeah.
But then we found somebody else. We decided to change from that person, and she said, the one thing I can do is get pregnant very easily, and she did.
Okay.
And she created Marcus for us, which was quite phenomenal. And then we were out in Chico near San Francisco having our little boy, which was quite exceptional, which was 7 years later. That's how long it took to create the next child.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Yeah, which is a long time.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, you know, my
How
advice
amazing
to everybody
that
is
you
don't
have
give
the
up.
ability to do it.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
it's also don't give up trying, but the problem is it's an expense.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a real problem.
Yeah.
But we were very fortunate, and Ryan's parents kind of stepped in to be able to help us in that way as well.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Yeah, I know.
So that's an amazing journey of being able to share that, because there are so many women out there now, apparently, where the numbers are also growing. And, you know, I don't know if it's stress related or the world that we live in or the things that's in our food or whatever that might be.
It's a combination of so many of those things.
Yeah.
It really is. Hormones in the food.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
You know, there is a stress that is put on our bodies, and you know, I mean, look, clearly, I have never ever got pregnant.
Yeah.
So all those times where people say, well, you know, just let it go. Well, sometimes you're just not able to.
Yeah.
And you can't blame your body for that type of thing as well.
Yeah.
It just wasn't meant to be. I am very fortunate that I have 3 children.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's a great thing. I'm always open as well for women to talk to me about our journey,
Yeah.
because I do feel like one should pay it forward. You really should, and you should help other people if they're experiencing difficulty. So on a regular basis now, I get asked, can you please help my friend or whatever it is? And I think really, there's been a few things that I've done in my life. Lady Garden is about gynecological health. That is one of the reasons why I'm very invested in what we do. And I had pre-cervical cancer cells when I was 20 years old. My mother was fortunate, thank God, to be able to take me to the gynecologist to be able to suss out what it was, because I must have had some symptom from that, but 20 years old. And
that has not related to the fact that you couldn't get pregnant? There's
apparently not.
Okay.
Apparently not, but it was lasered out, so therefore, I'm sure there's scar tissue there, but I know lots of other people that have had pre-cervical cancer cells and have gone on to produce children. One of our co-founders, Chloe Delavine, has had that as well.
Okay.
And as well, when I was going through trying to be able to have children, I was on the board of Great Ormond Street Hospital, and I used to take people around the hospital for potential donors, and we would be showing them all these kids that were very, very sick.
Yeah.
And I think that for me was very important, because I was trying so hard to create a child, and I was looking at other people who had a child and that they were sick, and that I felt that I have to be grateful for what I've got and what's going on in my life. And so I think I would say to a lot of people that it is important to be able to not just look at yourself, to look out and see who else you can help in this capacity.
And share this experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Great Ormond Street really was quite phenomenal. I worked with them for like 7 years and created a sub-charity there called Save the Day that created the specific needs for that they needed in the hospital, which were things like, you have a sick kid and they're lying in the bed and you have a chair that literally is upright and it's not reclining. We fundraised for actual items in the hospital, and people loved it.
To make people more comfortable.
Absolutely. So it was a shopping list, and I've always loved that concept of shopping lists for any charity related thing, that you can actually tell people what they are giving money for and where it's going to end up. Because I think, you're like, great, I've made a room, I've done a piece of equipment, I've done research.
And combine the whole package.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so tell me, being a mother, working full time, how do you, maneuver that whole part?
I think it's with a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, Julie, you've got double the amount of kids that I have, even more. And I would say if everybody's beats themselves up about not doing enough, but I think you've got to be present enough.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example today. My son has asked me to go and watch his rugby match. He says, Mummy, you haven't been all term. I really want you to watch my last one. Do you know what? I'm cancelling my beloved paddle, which I do on a Wednesday, and I'm going to watch him, because that is what we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to be able to have this balance between working and showing up.
Yeah.
I really think so. So, if you don't show up every time, that's okay, but show up some of the time, because your kid will appreciate it so much. So those times where you can pick them up once in a while, great. I particularly love taking my kids to school every morning.
Me too.
So I think it's really important, a little bit of time in the car, even if they don't particularly want to speak, they're in a bad mood, they've got a test coming up or whatever it might be, or they just actually want to play some music. They know you are there for them.
Yeah.
So those 3 kids get taken every day, unless Marcus is in a boarding situation. And I believe that, that's where you've got to look at, as to what you can do to be just giving a little bit of your energy and advice, maybe at times where they will ask for it and maybe they won't ask for it.
Yeah. And so, advice to your younger self, what would that be of everything you've gone through?
It's a good question. Well, my father was a massive influence in my life, and unfortunately died a few years ago, which I can't even believe I say, because it still feels like he sort of has a presence around me. But he had an expression which was JFDI, which is just effing do it, and it is so important, and I give that to the whole of my Halpern team, and I've done it the whole for Lady Garden as well, and for my kids, which is, don't talk, just do it.
Yeah.
And I think that is what has helped me in any situation, trying to be able to do something where you might think you don't feel up to it, you don't feel confident enough with something, you don't feel as though somebody's got your back, whatever it might be, just give it a go.
Yeah.
Make that moment happen is definitely what I'd say.
Yeah.
Don't have fear factor, which really is all about it. Go for it, yes. Give it your best shot. I never think I'm the best at anything, but I do try my hardest.
Yeah. And so, do you have a fashion item that's like your power suit? When you go into meetings and when you go for it, what is it?
I think my boots. I love them always. I love wearing a pair of tall leather boots. It just kind of gives you a sort of sense of kind of bit of sexiness and a bit of kind of like, you've got this girl.
Power.
Yeah, and I think that is important within what we all do.
Yeah.
You don't want to show up feeling grim and putting on your jeans and a jumper when you could try a little harder.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. You've always done that, Julie. You always come out looking brilliant, and when we met, very much when our girls were 4 years old, I remember seeing you for the first time, and you were in some fabulous outfit, and I thought, good on you. You know what? You turn up, you show up, you're memorable, and I think that's great. I mean, listen, we all have down days. We all put the tracksuit on, but at the same time, they are there. But you've got to be able to, you want to make an impression, dress up.
And it makes you feel good.
It does.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my glasses on today because I'm hiding a little eye issue, but otherwise we got to carry on. Yeah. It just has to happen.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here and really, telling us about your journey, because I know that's a very personal thing, but I think it's so important that we do share these stories.
Yeah, no, it really is. There's no doubt about it.
Especially when there's so many incredible women out there who are going through that journey as well. So for all of you, you can hit to the website. What is your website?
It's ladygardenfoundation.com.
And there you can buy the tickets for the event in May, but you can also go and donate directly and be part of the change. Go and help so we can create more research and get those numbers down, huh?
Get those numbers down.
We've got to get those numbers down, guys. It's
but Julie, you're helping us so much to be able to do this and to be able to, really highlight the cause here. So thank you to you.
No, thank you very much for coming.